Hi, in this exercise we will create a part with the auxiliary views. As you can see on this drawing of this bracket, we have a fairly simple bracket. However, the true dimensions for the cuts on this slanted face are given on the auxiliary view. If that's the case, so then what do we need to do? We need, once we created the basic feature geometry, we need to place the sketch on the same face which represents the plane of our auxiliary view where we have true dimensions, and that will be on this face. And that's it. Then we will just do the extrude cut. So what will be the easiest way to make this feature will be to really recreate it in this view. So essentially to make a 1 to 2.25 line and then to bring it down for for the 1, then go down for a 0.5 to create essentially this profile, extrude it out for a 3 inches. Then we can go and we will do first, those two holes are on a top view, so we can use just this face or a top plane to make them. But however, for this slot cuts, we will need to place the sketch on this face. Okay, so let's go now back to the inventor and start working on this. So we will start by maybe making a horizontal line, then slanted line, vertical line, offset, vertical line, and so on. Close the contour. So let's start in the inventor our new part, and this will be in the English unit standard part. And we will start by making a sketch on a XY or a front plane. And we can start by making just like a horizontal line, then slanted line, and start by putting the dimensions. So what is 2.25 and 1.5 and 5. So 2.25, and then the horizontal distance from the origin, if I place an origin here, will be a 5, and vertical distance 1. So let's make the horizontal line dimension 2.25. And then let's make another horizontal line between this point and an origin. And that will be a 5. And then we need to make a vertical dimension of the slanted line. And we know that this is going to be a 1. Okay, and as you can see, as we are doing it, we are keeping it fully defined. Now what I can do, I can actually use the offset, and I can offset these two lines on this side, 4.5. And then we can go back to check the parts. So what else we have to do? We have to define the 0.5 thickness there. So, and we are going to define that that's our offset. We need to make the vertical, and we need to make this one for a 0.5 little kind of a slant or this little position, and the distance will be a 1.75, but in this plane to this edge. So it will be in this plane from here to there. That's not it. So this one is actually not given. So we can assume based on the dimension that it is a 1/4 inch offsetted from this edge. Okay, 0.75 and 0.5. Okay. So I can make this as a rectangle, which is going to be a 0.75 offsetted from the edge. Pardon. Let's see, 0.75 vertical. My bad. 0.75 vertical. 0.5 horizontal. And maybe we can see what will happen if I put it from here to here at 1.25. That's too much. Let's see at 1.5. Okay, 1.5 is actually correct. We now need to close this sketch by making two vertical lines. So in order to be extrudable, one line is here, and one vertical line is here, and we will need to extend these two together. Okay, now we are ready to extrude this profile. So we need to select both contours. And I will extrude it, okay, for 3 inches. Okay, so it is extruded out for 3 inches. So let's do the extrusion for 3 inches. Distance for the 3 inches. And that gives us the base feature to put our shapes on. Now, our auxiliary plane is actually going to be this face. And as all the dimensions were driven on the auxiliary plane, we will need to start a sketch and to place that sketch on the face which represent our auxiliary plane. And now if I look at it, what do I have here? I will need to make this centered feature, and another one as a slot, and another slot there. The length of this slot is going to be arbitrary, so I'm not going to cut the other end of the slot because both are extruded cuts. And this one here, the other slot, is presumably 1.5 inch in a center distance. So I'm already now at my top view, but I can't, okay, so I can see here, I'm going to pick up the slot. And here is, for example, center point slot. And I can make the center point slot from here, from the center point to somewhere here. I'm going to place the dimensions. And that slot is going to be the 1 inch thick. It's going to be the distance from the center to the edge. I believe it's 0.75, no, 1.75. And it is centered, so I'm going to place it at 1.5. And as you can see, that slot is now almost fully defined. And to keep my thing fully defined, what I can do, I can move the center point of the slot up until it intersects with a contour. And let's see what is not defined. Okay, or I can just put the length, which will fully define the slot, length of, let's say, 2. It's fine as long as it is longer than the piece itself. Now, we do have on that auxiliary plane another slot, which is a 1.5 in length and 0.25 and 0.75 from the edge. So to make that slot, I'm again going to choose the slot, the center point slot. I'm going to make it somewhere from here to here and up like this. I'm going to define the radius of 0.25. I'm going to put the center of the slot centered at a 1.5. No, not that. That should be 0.75. However, the position from the edge to the center, let's see, this is too big. That's 0.75 divided by 2. Let's see what is happening here, the wrong dimension. Need to put that this is a 1.5 is the size of the slot. And then from here to here, it's again 1.5 because the slot is centered. And from the edge to the slot, it is going to be a 0.75. Okay, so this now sketch lives on my auxiliary plane, and I can extrude cut it. Go extrude, and I choose cut, and I will choose the profiles, select profiles. I'm going to choose the one profile. Let's see why it is not select. From select face, I will select the face, and then select profile. That's the one profile, second profile, and I just wanted a true wall. And that has created my auxiliary view. And even if I look at it at a different visual style, if I go, let's say, the wireframe, and then let's say go on the front side, you can see that those cuts are orthogonal to our auxiliary plane, and that actually our part is correct. Now, if I want to do the whole wizard or a cut on this side, so what I will need to do, I will need to make another sketch, place it on this plane. I will need to place the size of the holes are 0.5, and they are at 0.75, 0.75, okay? So the size of the hole, I'm just going to place the points, because I will use the hole wizard. And then I'm going to make the distance between these two to be a 1.5. Going to make a distance between one and the edge, 0.75. Need to make those two holes to be vertically aligned. It means this one and this one will need to be let's see, where is my vertical? There it is, okay. They're vertically aligned. And now we just need one more dimension, and that will be distance from the edge of 0.75. We close this sketch, and now what we can do, we will place a hole as a 0.5 and as a true hole, simply true. And there it is. Our piece is completely done. So we had one auxiliary view, orthogonal to this plane. We had other views to create, like a front view and top view, to create the rest of the part. Okay, so this was an example of demonstration how to use the auxiliary view in a 3D part model.